Welcome to ChoreoCollab Podcast, where we discuss dance, film, collaboration, and more. Brought to you by Central Florida Choreographers Collaboration. I'm your host, Amanda Van Meter Birch. Today I'll be talking with Lindsey Gunn about her collaboration with us for Season 3, Project 22-1. Hi, Lindsey.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being on with us and chatting with us about your project.
Of course.
So I really want to know a little bit about how you got started in the dance world.
Okay. Well, I was quite literally born into the dance world. My mom was a dance instructor teaching at about 2 or 3 different dance studios when I was born. And then when I turned 1, she decided to open her own studio. So I, as you can imagine, I kind of lived at the studio. I would sit in, on all of the big girl rehearsals and just in awe watching them and be like, I want to do that one day. And so here we are.
What a great childhood.
Yes, it was.
So to talk a little bit about where you guys are now. Your Contempo School of Dance, you and your mom run it.
Right.
And I have to say, I commend you guys on the environment that you've created. We love your dancers. We love your facility. Every time I walk in, it's like a family. When you guys post things on social media, it just seems very personable.
It is. That's what we strive for, that family environment where those dancers feel, comfortable enough to, be able to learn in that environment, grow in an environment where they are completely comfortable with their surroundings.
Great place. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your project. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. So my project is portraying the different ways a countdown can affect us, whether that be physically or mentally. Sometimes physically, it can include physical symptoms that arise from that, whether that be comfort or a sense of panic. So it had a very exploratory nature behind it. In that kind of sense, it was very fun to create. It was just very fun to explore those different feelings that could arise from that.
And it was a really unique concept. I really love what you did. You created your own sound score.
I did. I took a collection of sound effects from Epidemic Sound and just threw them in a track, and here we are.
So why was that important to you, that theme, that topic?
I would say the theme is important to me because I always seem to it was actually more interesting to me than it was important, just because of how we as humans perceive it so differently. I always seem to subconsciously create a countdown for myself, leading up to anticipating certain life events, as do most people, but they just might perceive it a little bit differently than I do. So I find that really interesting.
And you shell out choreography on the regular. Like, you seem to be a pretty busy choreographer. So
yes, I go home, I choreograph, I come teach, I repeat.
So how did you proceed with choreographing this project?
Well, I always start with the music, right? So I created that sound. And then I always choreograph in the same spot in my house. I'm very, what's the word? Routine like that. I'm very set in that spot. So I did the same thing as I usually do. I just create the sound. I listen to it a number of times, in little sections. And then I kind of just let my body take it from there, honestly.
So this is a cheesy question.
Yeah.
You have this beautiful studio. There's 4 or 5 studios, 6 studios in it. So what's so special about this little spot in your house?
It's very I It's funny that you say that because yeah, I have this whole facility that I could come up here and choreograph at any time. But for some reason that spot is just very it's very comfortable for me. It's like my comfort place. It's very, very intimate for me. So that spot is where I feel like I personally can create choreography that feels most myself.
Gotcha.
I have less of a creative block in that spot.
Gotcha. So what was the relationship like working with your dancers?
Well, all 6 of my dancers have grown up with me since they were when I was in high school, I was on team with them. They've been dancing with me since they were 10 years old. So it was a very natural and simple process just because they're so comfortable with me and they're so comfortable with each other, which makes a huge difference in how this project went, for sure.
Yeah, it was a very smooth process, and I think that is definitely attributed to your comfortability with everybody who was involved in the team.
Right. And they also, yeah, they're very aware of what I expect from them, you know. So it was definitely an advantage in them being able to, you know, interpret the choreography in the first place, but also how the process went. You know, we finished in what, 3 hours?
Yes.
It was amazing.
Awesome timing, very efficient.
Very thanks to you and Carla as well, you know, but they definitely they were ready to go, you know. We knew exactly, they know the deal. They know how to get it done. So
yeah, they did. So that was going to be my next question. How do you think they interpreted this choreography?
Just with them being so comfortable with me, they know my style. They know what I expect of them. So they were able to interpret it successfully, in my opinion. I love how they did it. So
I agree. They did a beautiful job.
Everyone else will too. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the film technical aspect for you. Was this something that you had experience with before, or was it new?
In college, we had a project where we had to make a film for a grade, but it was shot on my iPhone. It wasn't anything great. You know, it wasn't anything to this scale. The film process was easy just because, you know, you knew what you were there for me. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew where to, you know, the best angles to find for them. But it was definitely really interesting to think about the ways, you know, just because I'm so used to choreographing for a stage from one point of view straight on. So it was fun to be able to choreograph it through the lens of a camera. You know, what angle do I want this piece to be at? What angle do I what am I trying to give off in this scene? You know, it was fun. It was different. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think every artist should experience the
Absolutely.
difference, but they are very different, you know, and I think
So
that
different.
you
Very
have a
different.
lot more freedom, but there's a lot more pressure at the same time with film because
Absolutely.
every angle can have a meaning and you can show your audience exactly what you want them to see versus
Right.
them being in a seat in a proscenium theater and they get that one angle. It's
Right.
beautiful and you need the stage, but yeah, there's something very unique about the film experience. I agree.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It was also it was actually a very simple process too with my dad edited it for me. Well, we both did. I had to sit there and guide him and be like, this is what I want. But he was the one who knew how to do it. He knows we used a software called DaVinci Resolve
Yeah.
to edit it, and he knows it like the back of his hand. So I just was like, okay, what can we do to how can you make this work? Like, how can you give me this on this part? And he knew exactly how to do it. So it was very simple.
That's very cool. So what
Didn't
was
take too long.
so he has a video background.
He actually really doesn't. He is just very he's IT based, but he's more honestly into photography than he
Mhm.
is videography. He he just loves a good project.
Yeah.
He loves a good techie project of anything. So but he has that one year of COVID where we were unable to do our annual recitals. We in Studio 4, we had the dancers, come in class by class, one class at a time, film a showcase
Mhm.
film, and he kind of put it together. So that's where he got that software, what he got the
Okay.
software for.
Gotcha.
He put it all together, as a regular DVD that we would usually have from our
Mhm.
recitals so that the kids and the parents could still have something.
Yeah.
So that's really where he learned the most about that software. But ever since we've just been playing with it for fun.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
So what challenges arose from the process for you?
that fog machine.
Yes.
That was honestly
Yes.
the only challenge, if I'm being honest about it. It was frustrating because 2 days before that I had tested it and it worked fine, but it was just being really stubborn the night of um, the filming, of course. So so I of course panicked, but then you helped me and you were like, okay, well, what if we, set up this lighting differently to try and still put emphasis on the middle of that circle. So it really did work out. It was a
Mhm.
team effort for sure.
Yes, and I think Carla was on top of that machine too.
Yes, she was. She was really
She
trying to get that thing to work.
she is always so on it. I can't with Carla
She was
sometimes.
determined. Absolutely.
So what were some of your favorite elements of collaboration for this project?
Um, well, definitely working with my students. I don't get enough time with them for sure. Even though I see them every day. They're just the most fun to work with. But definitely collaborating uh as far as the filming process with you and then having Carla assist it. I think that was honestly the most fun because that was just the most foreign for us. That
Mhm.
was a new experience for us for sure.
I love those new experiences, and I'm so glad
Yeah.
that we got to do this. It was
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite things about how your project turned out was that, um, it's on the shorter end, so it's like it's very satisfying to watch, but it does leave you wanting just a little bit more at the same
Mhm.
time, and I think that artists tend to overlook, like, I'll be the first to admit, I am terrible at the process of elimination. I hate getting rid of stuff that I like,
Yeah.
but you really narrowed this down to this is what it is. It's very cut and dry, and it
Mhm.
was clean. Um, so I really love the length of this.
Thank you. I'm honestly used to choreographing pieces that are between like 2 minutes and 4 minutes, and
Mhm,
that's really it. So it definitely that wasn't a challenge for me, but I definitely was, um, like, skeptical about, "Is this too short for what I'm trying to go with?" But honestly, I'm really happy with how it went. I just kind of created the sound and I said, "However long it is, it
mhm.
is." I just need to get everything that I want in it, and that's all that I really care about.
And you were left with something really stellar.
Thank you.
So was the process what you expected?
It actually really was. I had made a point to come to Carla's filming process beforehand, before mine, just so I could see, okay, what is going to happen? What do I need to expect? What are the limitations, what could possibly put us back. But hers also went really well. Hers also went really smooth. So I was like manifesting that into mine. And I guess that worked. But it definitely was. And of course, the previous year, I was in Carla's piece as a dancer. So I was familiar, with what the process kind of looked like. But we had setbacks with that one. We had some setbacks with that one. So it was actually really nice to come to Carla's piece this year more as an observer on the outside, to see how well that went for her this year. So
yeah, she was due a smooth day after last year.
She absolutely did. Yeah.
Yeah, we had there was some venue issues and
yes, things that are completely out of your control.
Yes.
And that's the thing too. I filmed it in our own studio, so there really wasn't much that that would happen that I wouldn't expect, except that fog machine.
Minus that, yes.
Minus the fog machine.
So what's next for you?
What is next? I don't know. I don't know what is
you
next.
are working on finishing your certification, right?
I am in school still. I'm going to finish that in the spring. So
and that's for dance health,
dance medicine and science.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you plan to do with that?
Well, right now, I mean, at the end of it, we are creating our own research project, hopefully to be published, that will, right now I'm in the middle of like really deciding what I want to do, but right now I'm leaning towards more of the nutritional aspect of how nutrition, or what kind of nutrition, can really enhance a dancer's performance, specifically in the age of adolescent female dancers, just because that is who I work with.
Right.
So that is what I am working on right now.
That's
definitely going to be a very long process, but hopefully something great comes out of it. Hopefully some nice learning material comes out of it. But really, I'm in that program to benefit my students. Injury prevention wise, how to manage an injury if it's already happened. Nutrition, just to learn as much as I can, to help them.
Well, we'll be on the lookout for that book.
Right. You'll see it if it happens. I'll let you know.
So how can people find you?
They can find me on, I will admit I'm not the best with social media. I'm really not. I take a lot of social media breaks. But you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. And you can also find me through Contempo's Facebook or Instagram. I'm the one behind both of those. But as far as websites, I don't have my own website, but our studio does. So
Contempo School of Dance.com. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us, Lindsey. It was great working with you this season. We love you guys. We're such big fans, and we can't wait to see what you do with your research project and your degrees. And awesome. All good things.
Thank you very much.
That was Lindsey Gunn, Season 3 choreographer with Central Florida Choreographers Collaboration. You can see Lindsey's project along with dozens of other films in ChoreoCollab Film Fest 2022. ChoreoCollab Film Fest 2022 is screening online until November 20th exclusively at ChoreoCollab.com. We hope you'll join us next time. Keep creating, friends.